Hey, greetings Jedi traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you the daily trend for week 32, day 3. It is Wednesday, August 10th, 2016. As always, please seek financial advisement when trading with your money, as these videos are for educational purposes only. To support your knowledge in the market, see what's going through my head on any given day. Always make sure you have a solid trading plan and always manage your stop when placing a trade. Alright, let's jump right into the let's take a look at the VIX there, guys. VIX today, price action on the VIX, whether you're watching the VIX or trading the ETF. We'll look here in a second. Always watching for that sell signal in the gap here as price action with a range low down to 9.3. As you see, each time it identifies right underneath the 12 and really playing around here down as the T3 moving average is holding down on a 4-hour chart. But VIX gets a little lift. And I think you know the reaction in the indices today, as we'll look here in a moment. There's the ETF. Again, if you're trading the ETF, again, pullback opportunity coming. Got to get it back above on that 4-hour chart. It's going to take a little bit for market to push back up. We know that if VIX is coming up, that market's going to be tailing it to the downside. So we continue the downtrend. Again, just be a little cautious. If you've been in this downtrend, maybe time to take off a contract or multiple contracts, take off one, and then if you're looking for the re-entry to the downside, let's wait for the pullback to get back down, but we are red all across the board. All right, jumping into the daily numbers here. Daily stats, 3 market, 6 setups, not bad today, 172 ticks with a loss there on the first one, negative 32. Wait for the setup, come back 95, put us up 63 ticks, add 11 to that. Gave us 74 ticks, same on the YM, and 24 on the S with 2 setups. Econ data today, MBA mortgage applications were in the positive. JOLTS increase in number. Jobs, EIA inventories were up, sending the crude down, and Treasury budget deeper in the deficit. Check out Ken Polcari's newsletter. Clicking here to read more of his daily newsletter based on just actual macro data from each day and his 2x2 analysis. All right, guys, I want to go ahead and just identify before we go through the daily charts here. This is a post I talked about yesterday, identifying highest probability setups, always looking for in the trends. So looking for T3 moving averages upside, looking for price again to be above crossover, above the 50 EMAs. We want the 55 above the 34. Would like to see price action 50 above the 144, and here on our higher time frames in an uptrend and an AD line. So nice gold standard across the board. We're not talking about that price action might not pull back as it did later on, but again, looking for just ticks, looking for a piece in the game. So looking at today's setups, there it was from the get-go. We got divergence across the board here on the range chart. Sell signal downside, 5 charts in the red. You got NQ downside, you got YM upside, ES downside. Looking at the 5144, we're going in opposite directions. The question was who was going to win, and I think we saw that by the VIX up, and we'll take a look here at the AD line in a little bit. All right, here comes the sell signal downside. There it was across the board. Again, this is about post 1 hour of the market open, finally letting it rip. That was the big trend of the day, trend number 1. AD line, that's right, AD line running it down. Had an early entry on the NQ that didn't exactly work out. That was that loss. We'll show that to you here in a minute. But price action on the AD line to the 750 was a good place to exit out of those trades. And price action, surely enough, bounced back upside, and summer session just fizzled out the rest of the day. All right, there was that first loss on the NQ downside. I had a sell signal, 5 chart. You know, I can go back and say there were 2 things I probably should have waited for. Number 1, that was like a couple minutes right before the JOLTS data. And so price action should have probably just held off. Also looking, I know there was something else I was looking at and noticed it afterwards. But again, that was probably just enough to hold me back. Again, not a bad setup. Had 4 charts in sync. Probably could have done a lot better on the setup, but again, a loss is a loss. You wait and you re-enter, and to the downside it was for setup number 2 there for the session that we'll see here in a little bit. All right, so there was the setup on the ES, also to the downside. Price action moves down to T350 4-hour chart. We'll see that in a little bit. So that was a good place to take it out of the contract. And once price rebounded back upside, good enough to exit the trade. And then there was trend number 2, giving us an opportunity to the downside. All 3 charts pointing south, and yes, there it was. A little bit of a move by the standards late day afternoon. Going to be a little bit more cautious. Take one off at 6 ticks. Stopped out at break even as price action all across the board were 5 charts in the red. That's what you're looking for, as we saw in that first chart there, but no luck there. As well as the YM. The YM pretty much a whole day trade there. Set up number 1 on the T350, crossing over. 5 charts in the red downside. Pulls back upside. There's the finally the exit down at the lows as price action bounced above the 144 and exit out. All right, there's the recap of our trades for today. Again, NQ was a loss this morning. Price action to the downside. That was 5 minutes right there before the jolt data. Not a good time to maybe have entered into a trade, but I did, and price action took me out. There was setup number 2, setup number 3 to the downside. YM with 1 day trade all the way down, and ES with 2 entries to the downside. All right, let's take a look at the AD line as we just saw for the whole day. Bounced at the 750, started to come down again as you saw there, but price action never getting down to the 750 again and pretty much held up for the rest of the session. Taking a look at the daily gaps, price action again, crude closing out the daily gap, coming back down to close out 42.03 yesterday. A couple of days of lift, Monday, Tuesday, and closing out Friday's gap there. So price action continues to hold in this downtrend, and as we'll look here in the daily big pick here in a little bit, we'll see that we have both open gaps above and below. Nearest open gaps here on the ES, YM, and NQ right below us. We have nothing above, so pay heed to those. Those eventually will be closed out, including all the gaps down below as we when market action does turn south, we'll call those out in the market, but NQ all sitting at all-time high zone up here. Take a look at the VPOC across the board. Not as much a healthy profile today. Again, outlier to the upside, majority of trading downside, so a little bit of repair needs to be done in the market, but you can see for the most part this week, consolidation just sitting up at the highs here, closing out the VPOC from yesterday, and crude all the way down to VPOC from last week. All right, looking at the fib levels, not bad today. NQ closing out the target low, YM by a tick to the upside and closing out both sides, or I should say we close out the target low, and ES running down to the target low down here, 21.74.25 plus some. So what were these low numbers in the market? Well, we'll see those here in a little bit. Hang on. All right, let's take a look at the 5-minute charts. As we can see, 5-minute charts, price action again holding inside the 25-minute open range. EIA report came out. We said those inventories were up. So market action pulling back to the cam line, down to the support line, all the way down, and eventually closing out today's gap and just pretty much finishing sideways. Take a look, 25-minute open range here on the ES, and then breakout downside with another surge downside to S2. We'll take a look at what that number was down there, and then YM as well, same picture all across the board. NQ downside holding around the cam line, and YM, sure enough, 18.422. All right, let's take a look at the daily trend here. Take a look at the crude, nice move again. EIA report out again, a lot of pre-action market from yesterday downside, a little bit of a lift this morning as before the numbers, and then sell signal here, get a little bit of chop, and then bang, best signal of the day right here, 5 charts in the red to the downside and finishing out. So south and downwards trend. All right, taking a look at the YM as we did. Big picture overnight on the YM was pretty much choppy sideways, didn't have very small range on the Globex, and then all of a sudden popped to the downside. There was that move as it broke the T350. You hold off from the sell signal there, and then it breaks that T350. Entry to the downside, managed it on the way down and out over here. So pretty much sideways. But again, look at that. Nice move. About 5 charts in the red to the downside. All right, NQ looking across the board here. Again, nice move. It was that first signal here on the right before that jolts data. Here's a signal to the downside. There was that entry I was liking. You know, if I remember correctly, 25-minute open range was there. I can't remember exactly what else I had there at the moment, but I know that the sell signal plus right before the jolts data, maybe probably would have been better to hold off, but you got 4 charts in the red. It was a good setup. Tick count AD line was downside, so obviously got caught and back downside. That's what you do. So pretty much, again, fizzled out the rest of the afternoon. And take a look at the ES. Again, we had that re-entry over here. Stopped out, or bailed out, and sell signal back to the downside. One off, and then stopped out at break even to give you at least 11 ticks. All right, taking a look at the ES again across the board. Sell signal to the downside, sell signal again towards the late afternoon. So again, a couple opportunities here on the ES. This was sell signal, and then actually here towards the late day, but decided by this point with 15 minutes to go, might as well just sit that one out. But not a bad setup with 5 charts in the red, but didn't get very far there. Take a look at gold. Gold very smooth today. Sell signal here on 2 charts in the red, but here was the better setup. 3 charts in the red. Again, go back to that chart system that I'm using. Again, you're looking at the multiple time frame charts. You're not relying on a tick count here. You're just looking at the AD line. Give yourself the highest probability. You take the trade. You sit in it as long as you can. So nice 2 moves, or you simply manage it by the swing size position here on the gold. Bring your stop up and then to the downside. So nice move there on the gold. And then wrapping up on the 6E. Nice move on the 6E overnight. Buy signal to the upside. 5 charts in the green. And eventually Euro market giving back, regular trading hours giving back some of that and back to the upside. Again, probably would have avoided this buy signal, rather have it above the T350, or else you got a little scalp entry. All right, daily big pick as we head into tomorrow. Again, we've talked about where we might be headed. Again, you got to be ready intraday. We are sitting at all-time highs. You can be looking at trend lines, whatever studies you're looking at. I'm always ready both directions every day. We know what the big picture is. So taking a look here at the crude, as yesterday we mentioned crude got in that little lift we'd want to see for the breakout. If not, it was going to pull back here. So we watched that 50 EMA, and now we're nice solid hike in Ashi bar. So T3 moving average is back in a downtrend, and so we'll look to the 50 EMA, which means that the open gaps, go back to your daily gap chart, 37.90 is a viable target. You can always look at your VPOX as any levels downside for the crude to go down here, 38. But taking a look just here, again, we have a double Fibonacci draw. We got a fib retracement to the upside that had a pullback here to about 50%, almost 61.8. Went ahead and drew a fib line now from the top to the low here, so we're sitting at about a 38% pullback. So now we have a fib extension to the downside. If price action is to continue and follow through, then we can look at targets to the downside, which include the open gap. So let's see where the follow through is tomorrow. All I can say is we're kind of in a quasi decision section here on the crude, so you be ready intraday. Momentum is definitely still to the downside, 50 below 144. So I got to go with the bigger picture that says we're still downside, but we're definitely in a pullback. Where we'll have a better confirmed downtrend once T3 moving averages get below this 50 EMA, definitely below the T350. Uptrend is if price action pulls just a small pullback here to lift up. If I can break that 144, then I got a better sense. So if you're looking for the ETF long, you'll want to make sure that that crude comes back downside and breaks back to the upside if you want that long position. Either way, be ready. In the next couple days, I think we'll get some direction, hopefully. All right, wrapping it up on the 3 indices. Again, bigger picture, step back, look at the bird's eye view here. We're in an uptrend, 50 above 200, and price action holding way at the highs up here. Volume on the YM just slightly over 60 period average, not bad. ES and NQ under as we roll through August. Trading again, everything as you can see, take a step back versus the intraday noise. What you had, and if you're looking at the ETFs, you know what I'm talking about. You're waiting for a pullback opportunity. Well, here you go. Here's a pullback opportunity. Again, finding that support on the intraday futures. You got T3 moving averages back downside. You have the 50 EMAs, you have the T350s, and you have the 50 above the 144. So everything is holding upside, all green backgrounds, because the dotted line is above the yellow line. That's the 50 above the 144, and everything, the slope on the T350 is all white, so we're all upside. And so price action just finding support. So go back for a minute where I was talking about the daily trend on that 5-minute chart. Why did price action hold all the way down here, especially on that ES and NQ? Right down there, S1 or S2, maybe those numbers, S2, sorry. S2 on the ES and NQ. Well, I was watching exactly right there. I was watching that today as price action came downside and tapped right to the T350 on both the NQ and the ES. Nice move to the downside, very impressed, and that's where I took out. And if I go back to those charts that I showed you on those entries, here's the big picture. There it was. Okay, NQ right down here and ES right down here. That's why I exited. Took that first contract off right at that moving average. And sure enough, price action bounced back up. All right, as we look ahead, economic data to tomorrow, jobless claims out, and import-export, and then Fed balance sheet in the afternoon as we roll out the week. Again, a little bit heavier next week as we roll out the month here. Actually, I think it's towards the end of the month. We got another week, and again, holiday session trading pretty much going on here. All right, that concludes an insight into the daily trend on the major indices that I'm watching. Feel free to stop by tradingfibs.com or any of my social media outlets to obtain more information. My trading mantra of one simple strategy: any market, any chart, any time frame will keep you disciplined. You can find me every day on Twitter at TradingFibs, and as always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I only trade what's in front of me and on my charts, and as always, leaving my bias at the door when trading. Hey, we're at the highs. We can go higher. We're pullback. It doesn't matter. Got to be ready intraday, both directions. All right, looking ahead, again, no big announcements here. Working on a couple of projects. Big one is just trying to build up an ETF market portfolio to start in September and to start watching more of the futures to recap here every day and give you the current trend. In no way tells you where we're going the next way. If anybody tells you where we're going the next way, it's pretty much a coin flip anyway. I can give you the momentum. Again, great chart here. Love it. Multiple time frames. Go ahead, take a snapshot, picture, whatever you want. That's what you're looking for. That's what your charts are. Again, sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes, most of the time, it does work out. If you guys get yourself a strategy that's working out for you, stick to it if you got more wins than losses. All right. Have yourselves a Blue Zone day wherever you may be. Good day, good night, and good trading to ya.